In the 16th century, a severe famine struck the southern lands of India, near the banks of the Godavari River. Crops failed, and starvation fractured entire communities. One mother, her body giving out from hunger, tried to carry her 5-year-old boy to a neighboring region in search of food. When her strength failed, she left her son alone in a dense forest and went on her way. The child's face was entirely smooth where his eyes should have been, a skin-deep seal with no trace of a socket or lash. He was 5 years old, unable to see his surroundings, and entirely alone in the wilderness without a single survival skill. Within the Bhakti tradition, this absolute zero point of human capability is viewed as the necessary canvas for divine grace. At that exact hour, 2 highly realized Ramanandi saints, Swami Kildev and Swami Agradev, happened to be walking down that specific forest path and discovered the child sitting in the brush. They asked him if he had a mother, a father, or anyone to protect him. The starving boy replied, "The one who is the protector of the entire creation is my protector too." Hearing this surrender, Swami Kildev took water from his traditional water pot and sprinkled it directly onto the boy's face. Instantly, eyes formed and opened. The boy's very first vision was darshan, the faces of 2 saints radiant with compassion. His sight skipped the material world entirely to land first on the beloveds of God. The saints brought the boy hundreds of miles north to the Galta ashram in Rajasthan. They named him Narayanadas and initiated him into a venerable Vaishnava lineage. His education bypassed every standard of religious training. There were no Sanskrit texts to memorize and no philosophical discourses for him to attend. Instead, he was assigned a repetitive physical routine. His sole occupation was to wash the dust off the feet of visiting monks and clear away their dirty, used leaf plates after meals. He survived entirely by eating whatever scraps of food remained on those discarded leaves and drinking the charanamrit, the water used to wash the saints' feet. This menial labor was not a punishment or a prerequisite for higher learning. In this tradition, humble service to the devotees is itself considered the highest spiritual practice. Through years of this service, his inner instrument of knowing was dyed in the color of prema, divine love. Every washed plate and every drop of charanamrit added another layer of this radiance to his being. Over time, the internal spiritual clarity of the young man scrubbing plates became so apparent that it outshone the intellectual scholarship practiced by the older monks at the ashram. Recognizing the boy's pure heart, his guru, Swami Agradev, gave him a direct command: sing the stories and glories of the Lord's devotees. This instruction reflects the core teaching of his lineage. Telling and hearing the stories of those who love God is the most efficient way to cross the ocean of human suffering. Following his guru's order, he composed his life's defining work, the Bhaktamal, which translates to the Garland of Devotees. He wrote in Braj Bhasha, the language of the common people, distilling each life story into concise 6-line verses. The work cataloged over 200 saints, placing mythological heroes alongside contemporary poets, without restricting himself to any single sect or path. He valued devotion over ego, a principle demonstrated when he hosted a feast for sadhus. The great poet Tulsidas arrived, and when the ashram ran out of leaf plates, Tulsidas happily accepted his serving of kheer, poured into another monk's wooden sandal. By documenting the heart rather than the lineage, Nabhadas created a text that unified disparate traditions. The Bhaktamal became North India's primary spiritual compass for the next 4 centuries. A sightless child, abandoned in a famine-stricken forest, had somehow become the chronicler for the entire Vaishnava tradition. The Bhaktamal was not born out of grand libraries, university scholarship, or theological debates. The text was written by hands that had washed so many holy feet that the very dust of the saints became the ink for his verses.